I'm host Varnika Porwal, and today we have with us Mr. Baneet Singh, founder and CEO of Imperial Overseas Education Consultants. Hello, sir. How are you?
Very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Thank you. And this is Dr. Dhirendra Gautam, founder of Great Human University and chairman of Navi Mumbai Chamber of Business and Industries. Hello, Dr. Gautam. How are you today?
Fine, thank you, Swarnika.
Thank you, sir. And in our today's episode, we will focus on overseas education and how it differs from the education system in India. With Mr. Singh's expertise and Dr. Gautam's research, we will be able to answer this question and gain more clarity. I would now like to hand over the show to Dr. Gautam to start off with our first question. Over to you, sir.
Uh, uh, Hi, Banit, how are you?
Very good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Just before I start, I'd just like to understand in brief for our viewers who are listening us online over our the Facebook Live and others viewer who will be seeing our recording and all that. Just why not you brief about yourself, what you do, and for our viewers.
Absolutely, sir. I'm Banit. So we basically, I head Imperial Group, which I started way back in 2010. Which the idea of it was to give clear and crisp advice to students across for pursuing their higher studies. Now, in the past 10 odd years, which we have been in existence, and we are completing the 10th year now. In fact, I started in 2000 in December odd. So we have been counseling students, mentoring them, training them for all GRE, GMAT courses which are required for study abroad. That's the first thing which we do. The journey starts there. Then we have been mentoring them with their application processes and what is required, what kind of university suits them. So, globally there are more than 3,000-4,000 universities, and even the universities which are very similar to each other, the student is always confused. Like there are 15-20 of the very same kind of university. So what we have done is through our students who have gone there, we are most of our team, which is that what differentiates us is most of our team itself has studied or worked abroad. And with that benefit, we have actually have our friends or earlier students who passed in, and we know the real life of what exactly is insights into these universities. So we help and shortlist them for the student and kind of align the career growth path for them across. So that's the main thing which we do. Apart from that, in the last couple of years, we have seen issues wherein students facing bottlenecks on, say, education loans. So we've gone around making a digital platform, which is one of the first of its kind, wherein a student logs in and connects using finances and education loan. We have also seen under the COVID-19, we also have created a platform wherein students can directly interact with universities through a web conferencing tool. So that's the Hello Uni which we have. Apart from that, the Imperial Group as a whole is also into overseas recruitment. So we kind of are a government approved, Ministry of Overseas, Indian approved, license holder company where we send people abroad for work permits or directly who are looking to, get employability. And apart from that, we do also a bit of trading ourselves through our UAE offices. So we have basically 5 offices in India, which is 3 in Mumbai, 2 in Pune, an office in Singapore, or an office in UAE, and an office in US. So that's the whole size of our organization.
Great, wonderful experience you have yourself, and you are really doing a wonderful job for the education industry and all that. And today's topic, as Swarnika was sharing with us, is we'll talk about higher education. See, the very first question which comes in my mind, you are engaged in placing the student abroad, and we have been outside India also. Why so many people in India wants to go for higher education? You see the UK, you see USA, where most of our students go and study, and you go to their university and colleges, you will find 80% of the students are non-locals. They don't go for higher study. UK people rarely go for higher study. USA people rarely go for higher study. But what is the craze behind this Indian people and Chinese people and all? They are why they want to go for higher study, and not only in India, also abroad also.
So I guess you have hit the nail on the head. So when you go to a class in the US or in the UK, especially at a master's level, and वो भी focused on STEM, so which means science, technology, engineering, mathematics, these kind of four courses, when you go across for them,
Yeah.
you will find the majority of Indians, Chinese or Koreans.
Yeah.
You know, they dominate this space. And I think 70-80% will be these three, and then 50 to 20% will be local Americans or Britishers or Germans or Australians or New Zealand for that matter.
Right.
Now, a few things which we would like to highlight, or why students pursue, you know, education abroad. So first is the kind of studies or flexibility the foreign education offers, which means most of them are credit based, wherein they can choose their own courses.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the first thing. In India we have a very rigid system of our, you know, even if and the world is, the future is of specialization, you know.
Right.
People are the itself, if you talk about say mechanical engineering, it's a huge field. After mechanical you have various subsets: supply chain management, industrial design, you know, it could be architecture, you know, there are various other things which could come under that stream itself, robotics. So so one, they can choose their curriculum. That is the first thing which a flexibility a foreign university offers. The second is the way their ecosystem in the universities have developed. So in most of the countries, the government and India also, in lot of government spending happens on research and technology.
Mm-hmm.
How that happens in these countries is it happens through the university. So for example, if you talk about UK, you have the Russell Group of universities, which has about 60% of government. These are the top 20-25 universities in the UK. They get 60% of government research funding grants.
Oh.
Even in the US, there is huge number of grants of state-run institutions, of private institutions. I mean, obviously the namey ones are Harvard, Stanford, even all the state-run, which are say University of Michigan or any of the, you know, state-run universities, big time. They have a very strong impetus on research. Now, what that happens is when a student is looking at a master's program, he wants to study at the edge or cutting edge of technology. Now, this is where foreign universities come in, and this is what foreign universities have to offer. So their curriculum, their designment. So another thing which I want to highlight here, sir, is that in universities abroad, the curriculum is designed by the university themselves. It is not designed by a central. America doesn't have one curriculum to study. You know, neither UK has one curriculum to study, neither Germany. So they design their curriculum. They see which ones are where they are good at, what they are good at, and they go around. So second is getting the latest, you know, kind of an edge in technology in the last in their field. That's the second aspect which students go for. The third aspect is basically, you know, foreign exposure, independence. ये काफी चीज इंडिया में again you're used to quite a spoon feeding. So you know, fun by learning, new experiences. You know, it kind of adds to the personality. So it adds, apart from say academics or technology front, the exposure to multiculturalism, exposure to living on its own. That's the third reason why people to go abroad. And last and not the least, but one of the important parameters is what kind of job opportunities or employment opportunities they get after studying abroad. So we had a statistical, I mean, obviously these international portals may be skewed towards the Western side, but looking at that side in terms of employability, say top 250 or top 500, you know, universities employability in terms of statistics, you find a lot of them are located in these countries across. So there are kind of jobs availability, the kind of stay back options. And one more thing which has happened in favor is now, if you would see a good number of Indian students, if you see, I mean, the percentage wise will go into the technology programs. This is where whatever you call it, Indian education system at the school level, you know, is very robust. It makes you very strong in subjects like maths, subjects like sciences, and we kind of have that robust structure in place, and the interest is built in.
Right.
And then these guys go in for the STEM programs. And what has happened across globally, most of the countries where they go in, most of them where Indian students go is English speaking countries. And they have a requirement for, STEM focused engineers coming in and their economies. And there is a lot of job opportunities created on that. So these are the 4 parameters why students look to go abroad.
Yeah, that's really sounds interesting. Like, in fact, the next question I would like to understand, my schedule what was, I will ask you in last, but in current situation only, uh, very recently that government has announced the new education policy in 2020. I think just a few weeks back only. And I know that it is not still available for all the people to read and all. And it will take time for anybody to read and understand what changes they are going to bring it. But whatever we heard from our news or some reading, whatever we have, like what I'm able to absorb that they are given same kind of liberty to the students and the university here, also in India. And of course, about the funding, I'm not very sure, like, the economy of UK and USA and India, like, it will take some time to match that level of funding to the university for the research and all that. But whatever possible, they have also taken an initiative in that respect also. Yeah.
So what has happened is Indian government is, or we are also becoming obviously very progressive. So we understanding, that our education system is slightly rigid and it is still slightly archaic, which means that, like I'll give you my example. So when we entered into engineering, we standard, say electronics guy studies RA 8085. Which I guess was a 1940s kind of a thing. Obviously, maybe for base it's good, but you need to study something latest. So,
right.
so what has happened is, one, this education policy which has come in is excellent because it becomes cross-functionalism, and it gives the student the opportunity to understand various subjects and not limit himself. See, Indian parents are kind of what do you call it? Acclimatized towards 3 professions which mainly exist, which is doctor, engineer, and third is CA, or karna hai third. So the acclimatization to these 3 professions is there, and there are other professions or other interests which the student has, he's not able to pursue because darwaza hi band ho jata hai. So so how that now with this policy, I think the biggest outcome will be that in fact India mein statistical hai ki how many people percentage of engineers following engineering after doing a BTech course is very small. It's the lowest in the world.
Yes.
So people become engineers by default. By default. So that's what happens. So this course comes out this. Further, there is a very nice change at the master's level, wherein what has happened is the universities have started realizing that they can make colleges private, which is under the law. So for example, in Mumbai, you have something like the leading engineering schools of Mumbai, BJTI, UDCT, etc. They have become autonomous, but under Mumbai University, which means they've given autonomy to, make their courses, integrate their courses, inculcate latest technologies in, and move in that side. So that is a development which was happening, in the last 4 or 5 years. So in 2010, when I started, and 2020, huge difference. I mean, maybe the world operates in a different, but we have kind of, our education system, new universities, Ashoka, Flame, they are actually at par, or their methodology of teaching is at par with the global university. So we never had a liberal arts university before. Now we have Flame, and I have seen students going to Flame rather than going to UK.
Yes. Yeah, but again, relevant point I would like to understand. As you said it, like, there are number of good universities has come up private, and even the Mumbai University, so-called, for example, affiliated institution, you were talking about VGIT and all other institutions. But, those are not only the institutions. There are hundreds of the, you can say, MBA or engineering colleges are under the, Mumbai University, inside Mumbai only. Like, there are bigger junk all over the country. See, what I have seen very closely, and I would not like to take the name of anybody, but just I would like to say that the Mumbai University has given the freedom of having up to 60% of their own curriculum, and 40% is the university. What I have noticed, unfortunately, in the colleges, is the focus of the students or colleges are limited to that 40% because it belongs to university. So you have to understand those papers clearly and pass in that. Others are all internal, so that is manageable. I don't know. So how we are going to cater the mass? Like, you know, India is not only with can be managed by the top institutions and IITs and IIM and 20 other institutions are. India, every year there are around 1.25 crore students are graduating. So forget about 25. 1 crore population you have to graduate every year, and you cannot manage those people by this kind of. So where you see there is a gap in like, you know, for the masses, I can say आम आदमी, जो आम आदमी का school है, college है, जो middle class affordable है. See, there are always better class available for the talented people, for the economically strong people. But वो आम आदमी के बच्चे जो middle class वाले school में जाते हैं, college में जाते हैं, MBA में जाते हैं, engineering में जाते हैं, उनके लिए ये mindset तो बहुत खतरनाक है सर.
बहुत जबरदस्त.
तो क्या इसका क्या solution?
Mindset, sir, mindset क्या है? हमारा जो सारा करिकुलम है, वो बेसिकली नंबर लेड है. एंड रिजल्ट होता है मार्क्स कितने आते हैं, मार्क्स के ऊपर सब कुछ बेस्ड है. सीखा क्या है इज इमटेरियल. ओके, so that is where this difference in universities abroad, वहां पे कोई एंड का there is no marks or end of the day. You are graded on assignments on a periodic basis. So if you pick up one subject, subject में क्या होगा, you will be given the basic overview or what is the latest happening in the subject, the basics and maybe what is happening.
Right.
You will be then asked to do an assignment, or you would be asked to do a project on that subject.
Right.
And in a group or individual. And end of the day when you are submitting or different things, then the professor will take them, and when you have done the homework, done the research work, etc. Foreign or any so studies in generally abroad are maximum limited to 3 hours a day.
Right.
Then 3 to 6 hours the students are self-learning.
Right.
So that is the effect on learning, because what they say is you can Google everything. You have open book test. You can pick up a book. You should know how the skill set to do the job, and you should need to have the knowledge to do the job. Knowledge can be acquired or pulled up.
True.
In now in the Indian system अभी तक क्या हो रहा है कि हम knowledge पे टेस्ट करते हैं. हम टेस्ट करते हैं कि उस पीरियड में, उस टाइम फ्रेम में आपने कितना नॉलेज सीखी, एंड हाउ मच यू कैन वॉमिट इट आउट इन द पेपर्स. बट वो अगले दिन बोल दो कि अगले दिन के बाद अगर आप पेपर का बारे में पूछोगे, योर अटेंशन विल बी 50%. 1 month डाउन द लाइन विल बी अच्छा ये सब्जेक्ट खाली थोड़े बहुत बेसिक आइडिया है. एंड एनी प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम गिवन ऑन दैट सब्जेक्ट is where we are. So that is one, I think, which is one thing which we are working on, which is absolutely we are moving towards it, but the curriculum is slowly changing, and that's where we are. So ये बच्चों के लिए practical like मैं बताता हूँ, जैसे NMIMS है, which is very close by here. दिल्ली में अशोका यूनिवर्सिटी है. Okay, even the Delhi DCU. So they have inculcated a lot of projects and things like that in their system. So things are moving in that side, but the majority focus is still mindset is कि exam paper कितने हैं, number कितने हैं. 70% मतलब good student, 60% मतलब bad student.
Right. See, like one more interesting example I would like to share with you, and I would like to have your view also. I think last year in 2019, I has been approached by a foreign person, and he wanted to start up a IB school in India. And he told me to prepare a feasibility study and give us a proposal for this one. And that time I was remembering, like, you might have also understanding about the IB. They are very project based, and they are very, like, genuine content they want to their student to publish it. I noticed that there were around between 60 to 70 IB schools are there in 2019 in India, and majority are in the cities like Delhi, Bombay, and Bangalore and all, Pune somewhere. in 10th and 12th, in 11th and 12th, they call diploma in US and IB curriculum. 90% of the students who are studying in India in IB schools, they fail in diploma. And that is the reason all the IB school have dual education system, IB along with CBSE or ICSE. And the reason I was able to find it out, because they say that they have developed a system of evaluation where if you are going to submit a project or paper on the basis of any published document in public domain, you are going to put your paper into a scanner, and a scanner is going to scan through artificial intelligence, and they are going to tell you if that is coming from some other part of the research and some publication.
Right. So this is exactly this part is called forgery, or it's this
Yes.
this is the highlight of so people there, you cannot afford to copy assignments. You
Right.
cannot. It's called plagiarism. So plagiarism is a thing कि आपने अगर एक कोड भी लिखा हो, एक पेपर भी लिखा हो लॉ का, वो plagiarism is your own. इंडिया में क्या होता है? Our assignments run into pages, multiple pages. हम 4 6 page. But
Yes.
6 pages copied from somewhere else with a 10% input of ours. The things are in that fashion.
So I think what I was feeling it unless the real mindset of the educational institutions, the management or the teacher, unless that is getting transformed, bringing the education up to that level, it is still a very big challenge in India.
So
And how you see it will be transforming and it will be improving? Of course, government has taken the initiative by providing this new education policy. I think a lot of good people, intelligent people will be coming in education sector now, where the ranking system they also going to adopt that the colleges and institutes are measured their performance on the basis of their performance in the actual result of, and various parameters will be their KPIs will be developed, and that's why they are going to get the grant or help or ranking through the government institutions and all those things. So, but how do you think that is going to be channelized further? Of course, it will take time. It is not going to be in a year or 2 or 3. It might take 5-10 years more.
Correct. So
Yeah.
I think the starting happens, sir, in the quality of the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the starting point happens is teacher training and quality and the updation of the teachers and what the teachers are incentivized to do.
True.
Now, for example, in India, what happens is the teachers are asked to take classes at length in terms of how many classes could you take, how many number of students could you teach, is kind of your output of, or metrics of your your kind of way of thinking in. So abhi now what happens is as a teacher or in terms of where we are as a professor, as a college professor, if I have learned certain things, I've understood them, and you are simply given a huge load of work of teaching and a lot of many number of students, one, and second, repeat of the same thing again and again. Like I'll tell you one thing. So I had this university professors come in. I mean, we keep getting university professors in our offices, and they interact with students. So this one was an Indian origin. He was an IITian guy who went abroad and then did his masters, did his PhD. I think he was from SUNY Buffalo, State University of New York, Buffalo, just top 20 odd. And then he was working with UT Arlington. So, and he came back and he said, yeah, my friends are also, professors here. They have joined the IIMs, or, they are actually good. And these are competing universities. I'm not saying. So he said, for us, our grading is on the papers we can publish. Our grading or our research is on the amount of research. If I can get a grant if my research work gets approved, I can actually have a semester where I do not take classes at all. Right. Maximum number of classes people ask me to take is 3 or 4. And here, when I see my friends, they are graded on, like they do 7 subjects, 6 subjects, they are morning to evening, they are teaching students. So that is where I think it should start. The first point is the outlook of the professors to start, because once that outlook starts, the feeling starts coming in the student's mind also. Because kya hai, I mean, like a child, आप पहले parents को देखते हैं, आपसे उनसे सीखते हैं, they are the biggest loan of learning.
Right.
अच्छा स्टूडेंट किसको देखता है? अपने प्रोफेसर को देखता है. I mean,
बिल्कुल.
that environment on the school is what he is governed by.
Right.
तो जो वो एनवायरमेंट में चल रहा है, वो एनवायरमेंट ही आपको थोड़ा थोड़ा करके चेंज करना पड़ेगा. इट्स नॉट एन ओवरनाइट थिंग. आई मीन बट इट मे बी लास्ट 10 years में जितना प्रोग्रेस हुआ है, अगले 10 years में उतना प्रोग्रेस हो जाएगा. आई थिंक द मेथोडोलॉजी ऑफ चेंज will definitely make us more tuned. Like for example, Infosys, TCS, all these technology companies say कि आधे इंजीनियर जो कंप्यूटर साइंस वाले होते हैं, they are not actually industry ready. The gap, जो gap है industry ready वाला, वो है ही नहीं. वो क्यों नहीं है? Because updated curriculum प्रोफेसर और यार हमारे curriculum में उतना updated है ही नहीं. So I think this is where one disconnect we are looking ahead to solve.
Yeah, very nicely said, Banit. Like, one more challenge what I see, not only the education system or government or whatever facility we have in India for the normal education or higher education, whatever it is there. I think the perspective of students and parents toward education, that is also very important, way to look into that. See, if you just try to connect your education with job, I'm saying that of course majority of the people in India go for education and higher education to secure a better job in a better company. But another statistics I would like to share, again, one day I was just talking to somebody else and I say that who needs this certificate here? The major employer you see in India is the SME companies. SME company who are the major employer in India, उनको certificate चाहिए नहीं. They required somebody who can produce the result.
Correct.
Whatever they are doing in their organization, they required somebody they can develop the business, they can manage their finance, they can manage their marketing, they can manage their operation sales, irrespective which qualification they hold. That is not the priority. This is the smaller companies. The biggest company in the world, you see Microsoft, Google, IBM, Facebook, 40% of their employees are not graduates or dropouts. तो ये सबसे बड़े कंपनी को नहीं चाहिए सर्टिफिकेट यार, सबसे छोटे कंपनी को सर्टिफिकेट नहीं चाहिए. ये सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए किसको?
Very aptly put, sir. Very aptly put.
तो ये मैं बोलता हूँ ना कि लोग जो भाग रहे हैं सर्टिफिकेट के पीछे, लेकिन उसमें हम भी जिम्मेदार है सर. ऐसी बात नहीं है. If we are running behind the certificate, doing one engineering not satisfied, again doing the MBA not satisfied, again going to abroad doing the MBA not satisfied. Where is the satisfaction? When you prepare yourself here, you have enough opportunity to prepare yourself at the first level itself and prove that you are capable enough. Rest thing will automatically move on. I never say, or I'm never against having a better education. I'm also educated person. You are also educated person. We believe in that. But ये mindset कैसे change होगा लोगों का? ये क्या हम कर सकते हैं? What we can do it? What are the people we are in the education sector?
rat race mentality है. क्या है ना sir? ये this is a rat race mentality which has happened. So just to add to your stuff, कि actually the jobs which like MBA guys do does not require an MBA. A BBA guy can do the same job. आधे job जो MBA guy करते हैं does not require a business management job, but due to peer pressure, rat race कि हमको master's degree होनी चाहिए. I think India comparatively as a percentage has a very high percentage of masters graduates. उतने लोग बाकी countries में masters करते ही नहीं है ना set up country में. Sir एक और चीज, so this is one aspect of it. Second क्या है ना sir, okay, so who do we compare ourselves to? If we are comparing ourselves to the developed world, वहाँ पे क्या है कि people are not running behind jobs because the social security net, जैसे अगर आप कनाडा में देखें इस वक्त जैसे under COVID-19, government is supporting them. Australia government is, US, India में क्या है, unfortunately you have to fend for yourself. That is the first thing. So ये जो support structure है and the mentality of ourselves to be safe first,
Right.
So most of the guys are actually not studying the subjects because they are interested in studying the subjects. There could be, there are like 50% of those, but 50% इसलिए पढ़ रहे हैं क्योंकि उनको नौकरी मिल जाए and क्योंकि वो हो जाए. अभी नौकरी, and that is where the maybe there is a disconnect, and that is, I think, one place of thing education should kind of move ahead.
Right. I think we had a wonderful discussion. I would like to have another last question and then we will close. This COVID has impacted almost all sectors. And all the educations are either going online or they don't have any other option nowadays. So how it is going to impact the education in India and the people who are willing to go for abroad for the education at this stage for say recent in 1 year in 2020, and what are the there are challenges the students who has been already studying in somewhere in between, what is the solution, how they should be.
So, sir, I'll put it this way, sir. Now, all of us or most of the universities are following kind of an hybrid way of teaching. Right. Hybrid way of teaching means ki they are doing some classes online, and they are which is in fact majority classes online and some classes in person. And उसमें भी क्या हो रहा है कि because they have to follow the social distancing, they are breaking up the batch. So anywhere the class size is small, it's like 20, 30, 40 itself. And उसमें भी 10 बच्चों को बुला के they are doing their lab experimentation work.
Right.
Now, very honestly, sir, even in India, the same thing is happening. Like when I talk to engineering schools or when I talk to business schools or various even architecture even, तो architecture में तो वो drawing pad लेके घर पे ही अपनी कर रहे हैं and video on रखी हुई है ना, either the teacher is teaching there and they are in class and imitating the ones in class. So obviously, sir, this has impacted education on the whole. We are very lucky to, like, if this would have happened say 20 years back or 30 years back, everything would have come to a standstill, because जैसे अभी मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ using technology is as good as having a face-to-face meeting.
Right.
So that is the second thing which will happen, which has happened. Third thing, all the students now, especially students who are staying abroad, they have been supported by their governments there. So Australia, Canada, both have supported. UK has supported. The international student community has been supported by the university and the student in terms. There are some like US, for example, काफी उसके बाद Trump, keeps on stating some things on his Twitter handle, which kind of, create a wave around the world. But technically, he also has not affected any rules of the students staying there. So if the students are staying there, they are doing a hybrid course or a fully online course, they can stay back in the country. Obviously, social precautions are placed. So एक और चीज जो हो रहा है, which I want to highlight is student community is the, जैसे होता है ना, जैसे आप when like you and me have been through life, so we can absorb challenges, absorb threats, we can be more understanding of the situation around. Unfortunately, what is happening is students, and especially the students studying abroad, because they are without family, without parents, without anything, they've gone abroad, foreign environment. Some of them may and it's a new culture change also. कि वहाँ पे culture change है, course change है, the way it is taught, so they struggle. I mean, you have to adopt. जैसे आपने बोला ना, IB school में when they shift gear from one curriculum to the other, they kind of so उनको all you guys out there, unko they are especially feeling it. So at this stage, we as counselors, in fact, are reaching out to them, are talking to them, ki boss, things will be normal again, things will pass. You don't need to get depressed or anxiety. There is so much of anxiety, there is so much of क्या होगा नहीं होगा, इतने पैसा खर्चा करके आए हैं. So that is what is actually affecting them. It is not the curriculum, it is not the rules, but it is that feeling of stagnation.
Right.
Because क्या होता है when you roam around, जैसे आप foreign country पहुंचे, you go from your house to you go to the university, you meet 10 other people, you are in the environment, you are imbibing in the environment. There's a level of happiness. अभी क्या है, you are sitting in the house and you are doing some online stuff and you will say, boss मैं इधर क्या कर रहा हूँ. So things are in that side. So that is where the student community has got affected. And that is where we need to, they need to just be mentally strong, and they need to say that this is a normal thing and there is nothing much changed in their life.
Great. It was really great talking to you, Banit. I would like to hand over to Swarnika if I had to say something.
Thank you, sir. And I guess it was quite informative. Education industry is changing in India with the national education policy that the government has introduced. It will take some time for the changes to come in place, but it is not something that is impossible. It will happen eventually. And I guess that will be really good for our country and for the students that are in India. As someone who herself went abroad for studies. I can definitely agree with everything that Mr. Singh said.
Yeah, that's great.
And thank you, sir, for all your guidance. I would like to thank all our viewers who joined us on this live stream for their time and for their support. I would also like to thank Mr. Singh for his time and his guidance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And I would like to inform everyone that we will be back again next week with another corporate leader and discussing about another industry. Stay tuned for more updates, and please follow us on social media for updates about upcoming episodes. Until then, stay safe, stay happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.